You know, I really wish they actually would have kept the name Ultra 64
Was that the original name it was going to have?
originally. Hi, I'm
Ultra
Cloud.
64. Hi, I'm Jack.
And I'm uncomfortable.
And we're going to talk about the Nintendo 64 tonight. Fun fact, they originally had advertisements calling it the Ultra 64, and they didn't keep the Ultra. It would have been so cool if they made this one Ultra, and then the GameCube could have been called the Mega Cube. They could have called the Wii the Giga something, I don't know. And then they could have had the Terra, and then just whatever comes after that. And they just could have kept going with it.
Giga penis.
the Giga
It's not
Wii.
it's not just a Wii. It's a penis. But we're not talking about that one today.
No, we're talking about the Nintendo 64, a system that is not as fondly remembered today as it once was. Kind of got dogged on by the Sony PlayStation at the time. We talked about that system in a previous episode. But the Nintendo 64 has a lot of redeeming qualities and has a lot of incredible games, and I think we're going to be talking about a lot of that pretty fondly tonight. At least I don't know about you guys. You guys have some experience with N64, right?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
What?
Landon, do you have
Landon.
experience with the Nintendo 64?
I thought we were just here to talk about Digimon Story Time Stranger. That's all I've
No,
been
we're
doing.
not.
That's what I've been doing to prep for this episode.
I don't even think that there's a Digimon game on the N64, to
There
be
definitely
honest
is
with you.
not. So
Definitely isn't.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
I don't know shit about Digimon, and I know that.
So yeah, N64 came out in North America on September 29th, 1996 for $199. Came out like 3 months after Japan got it. Japan got it in June. This system is known for having a very unique controller. The weird, it looks like an R-Wing from Star Fox. Probably not a coincidence, though. But it was the first console to standardize having a thumbstick as part of the controller design. So it did pave the way for 3D gaming in that fact by actually making it mandatory that you provide a stick for proper three-directional movement in your games. But on top of that controller having that, there was also like an expansion port, which allowed you to add stuff like a rumble pack that was bundled in with Star Fox 64 originally. There was a memory expansion pack that they sold that could do stuff like saving ghost data in Mario Kart 64. There was also an expansion pack that would go into the console, because the console had a little like lid door that you could open up and put like a little thing inside, and that was pretty much just used for Donkey Kong 64 and like basically nothing else.
Majora's Mask.
Yeah, Majora's Mask as well. That's a fun fact. And of course, there was also a transfer pack that could go into the controller that's used by games, infamously Pokemon Stadium, but also Mario Golf, and I'm sure there's like a couple others that like connected your Game Boy game and the N64 game that it was supposed to connect to be able to get some extra bonuses and goodies. So, of course, yeah, that's pretty cool. It was discontinued sometime in 2002, so it only had a short shelf life of about 6 years. A lot of the time, systems will come out and they'll like last a few years after their like successor, and they'll like have a shelf life that goes beyond the system that came out after. But the N64 was pretty much just like killed off right after the GameCube started to like get out the door and had some momentum going, whatever little it had.
Yeah.
But the N64 did manage to reach 32.93 million units in total worldwide sales, and 20.63 million of those are in North and South America. Nintendo likes to bundle the Americas as one whole region. Just fun fact for like earlier consoles before like the Wii, just know almost all of that is just the United States and Canada. Like they say the Americas, but really it's just like the United States, Canada, and maybe these other like really small territories that we managed to put like 10 units out to. So it's pretty much that. Most of that 20.63 million is in North America, and mostly of that is United States.
Mexico probably bought some.
Maybe a couple. Maybe. That it's far more likely than anywhere in South America, we'll say that much.
Yeah. They were too busy playing the fucking Master System.
But we'll get into it more when we talk about like its legacy and its successes. But it didn't do too bad out here in the States, to be honest with you. Like it still got swamped by the PlayStation, like 2-1. But like there's a good, healthy amount of households that have fond memories of having an N64 in the United States, at the very least. And a lot of those people might have fond memories playing games such as Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, you had Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, you had Mario Party 1 through 3, there was Paper Mario, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, you had Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, you had Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Puzzle League, there was a lot of Pokemon games out at the time. There was Star Fox 64, Donkey Kong 64, there was Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, there was an F-Zero game that I didn't list, but I'm going to just say it here. There was Super Smash Brothers, the first one. Japan had Sin and Punishment. I wish we had it. There was Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. You had Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye 007, Perfect Dark. All of those previous ones I mentioned are Rare. Rare was really, really good at putting out N64 games. There was also some other third-party stuff. You had like Turok Dinosaur Hunter and Turok 2. There was a Turok 3. And there's a bunch of other games, both like video game original franchises and licensed IP getting video games on the N64 that I'm sure that if we want to talk about them, we can bring them up over the course of this podcast. So I want to know, what is your first experience with the N64? Did you have something you wanted to say first, Jack, before we get into it?
I lost. You mentioned the third-party content, but like, to be honest, we just talked about the Super Nintendo in the last episode.
It does, yeah. When we compare the Super Nintendo and the N64, as far as third-party content, the difference is night and day. The N64 has hardly anything by comparison.
Yeah. Almost all of the system's best-selling games are published by Nintendo, if not Rare, who was owned by Nintendo at the time. But my first experience with the 64, I don't fucking remember exactly when. I never owned one. The 64 was a little before my time because first console I ever got was the GameCube, and I got that the year the 64 was discontinued. So, but I had friends that were older than me that had 64s, or friends that just didn't have GameCubes yet that had 64s. And I had like most of my childhood experience playing on the 64 was either like Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, or GoldenEye 2, and then the Pokemon Stadiums, specifically the mini games.
I don't remember the first experience I had with N64. I know that I got it for one of two games, and I would ultimately get both of those games, but it was definitely, I got it because the newest Mario game at the time was out on it, and I liked Mario. My parents knew that I liked Mario because they introduced me to Mario. Or it was because of Pokemon Stadium coming out, and I had already been into Pokemon at the time, and I had seen that like they had Pokemon Stadium, and I wanted to be able to, the Pokemon are in 3D on the television. I gotta play this game. So like, it was definitely one of those two, and I'm not sure which one it is, but if I had to guess, I'm gonna say it was probably Pokemon Stadium, but I would not be surprised if it was Super Mario 64. The thing that makes my memory hazy with the N64 is that it bled into, like, it was taking up the same time span of my life as the PlayStation 1, which my family had in the living room, and I used to play that a lot. And then it also bled into our early PS2 era stuff. Like, I got the N64 a couple years after we got a PlayStation, and then we got the PS2 shortly after, and then I had this N64. I remember playing it before I went to foster care, which was in 2002, and I remember playing it quite a bit for a little bit after foster care. So it was like, it was in like that early, like the period when the GameCube was relevant, was when I was playing the most N64. But I definitely played one of those two. and that answers the question. I did have one growing up. It was just, as a lot of consoles that I owned at the time, a late arrival compared to like when most people had the system, because I was poor. So we waited until it was cheap. Landon, what about you?
I remember I got the console. It was like, I don't know if it was like right around the end of the console's life cycle or not. It was definitely before 2003 at the very least. So it was definitely like, but it was like pretty late. I think it was like 2000, maybe. I got it
Sounds
because I got straight A's on a report card. And so they gave me a Nintendo 64, and I think it was Pokemon Snap was the first game I got, but I also had Pokemon Stadium fairly early as well. So I had both of those.
Hell yeah.
And I remember watching my brother, one of my brothers, play, like, he played Paper Mario, and that's what led me to get Paper Mario eventually. Was I've definitely told this before, but he was in the final boss with Bowser, and right after beating Bowser, he kicked me out of the room, was like, all right, if you want to see the credits, you have to go. You have to play through the game yourself.
You don't get to see this. You have to beat it yourself.
Is this the same brother that eventually you got the PS3 from?
No.
Different brother.
Okay. The other brother.
Okay.
His
definitely had
yeah.
You definitely had quite a lot of your gaming sculpted by the rest of your family, just like me too, honestly. Yeah. Like I grew up a lot.
A lot of it was like, I feel like a lot of it was particularly this brother, because he was like the harder core gamer, and so like I watched him play like Metroid Prime, and then more particularly I did watch him, like I watched the opening part to like Majora's Mask on the 64. So like some, especially the Nintendo stuff, was like stuff I saw a lot more of. So yeah. And then I actually he was like getting rid of some of his 64 games, and I got his copy of Mario Kart 64. So those were like the 4 games I had during like the height of me playing it before I really got into the GameCube.
I can definitely say, like, I played a lot of N64 games during like my actual span of time, like owning one, and it's pretty much all of like the popular culprits. Like a lot of the stuff I listed is stuff that I had. Like I had Super Mario 64, I had Mario Kart 64, I had Mario Party 3 because that was the one that was out at the time when I finally got a game, an N64. I had Zelda Ocarina of Time. Never got around to Majora's Mask. I had Pokemon Stadium 1. I only rented Stadium 2. I never actually owned it. I also had Super Smash Brothers, and I had Diddy Kong Racing, and I had GoldenEye. I don't know what happened to my GoldenEye. I remember having the other games for a lot longer. Maybe it was a friend's copy of GoldenEye that they brought over, but I remember playing it extensively. Like when my friends and I played GoldenEye 007 a ton. So maybe one of them just always came over and like always had it on them. And because one thing that we really need to talk about with the N64, and I think this is probably why it's fondly remembered by some and not so much by others, is it has a reputation as a multiplayer centric console. A lot of the games that came out on it that are prominent are multiplayer games. The system supports up to 4 controllers at a time. So it was the best console to get a game, get a bunch of friends together, have a pizza party, and just play some fucking N64 games. Al, in a chat before I go too far, mentioned getting his N64 in 1998 along with Mario 64, so he got it before any of us did.
Wow.
Kudos to Al. Shout out to Al for having the N64 a little bit earlier than the rest of us.
Ultimate gamer much, jeez.
Ultimate,
yeah.
I say it all the time. Al's the ultimate gamer. So I did play a lot of N64 though growing up.
I did too. I mean, like I've never owned a 64 in my life, and I feel like I've played so much of it. This is probably like the most I've ever played a console that I have never owned, because
For me,
I would
yeah.
like
For me, that's the 360.
Because the 362, that's definitely up there as well.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's not true because I own a 360. I forgot about that.
So it's definitely the N64.
Yeah, it's definitely the 64.
It's a great console to not own and just go over to your friends and play
no,
it.
it's like the 64 really is like, for as, it was heavily outclassed by the PS1 at the time, and it definitely didn't have the sales or the library that the PS1 did. But to this day, I think the 64 is an elite local multiplayer system because it's very easy to just turn on, plug the controllers in, and play like Mario Kart or something. It's like you don't have to set anything else up. It's just plug it in, play, easy. And the multiplayer games on the system are very strong, in my opinion.
There's a good variety of like genres because you have good first-person shooters. You have which was not.
Yeah. Great console to have a friend that owns, because it's like most N64 games, if I'm ever in the mood to play one, like just by myself, I can just boot up the N64 NSO.
Yeah.
But like for multiplayer, it's like go on over to the friend's house and play some Mario Kart or
Mario Party,
or
GoldenEye, or Super Smash Brothers.
Or Diddy Kong Racing, or Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer, or some just random bullshit that still rules, like Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. Like,
oh yeah,
the N64 just has a ton in the way of like good local multiplayer games, and for it being like the first major system to have 4 controller ports, it does a good job of that.
Oh yeah. Landon, before we had our little technical difficulties, you were mentioning having a variety of genres as well.
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much named all the big stuff, but I feel like the console has a good variety of stuff available to it, with first-person shooters, fighters, various sports racing games.
Yep.
Yeah.
It does lack in certain prominent genres because a few very well-known companies that are good at those genres shifted over to PlayStation, so you don't have stuff like RPGs at the multitude that you had back in the Super Nintendo, unfortunately. But I mean, there's still a couple here and there. Obviously, Paper Mario is going to be like the big one, but there's like a few others, but there's not a whole lot. But the genres that the 64 does cover, it covers pretty well. And the N64 is known, despite being the first console that Nintendo had for like 3D gaming, it was able to put out some strong first-party titles that are, to this day, known as some of the best or among the best in their respective franchises. Like, maybe not us, but there's still quite a lot of people that like sing the praises of Super Mario 64. Zelda Ocarina of Time is still considered one of the best games of all time. Star Fox 64 is often known as the best Star Fox game. So you have quite a few games here that are like known as like, yeah, no, that was like some of the best games out there. So it's not that the N64 was lacking in quality in any way. It just didn't have the PlayStation 1's library. That's all. That's a big statement, but that's all.
I mean, it's a true statement. I mean, you didn't have Resident Evil. You didn't have Castlevania Symphony of the Night. You didn't have, I mean, I'm mostly trying to go with third-party stuff. So you didn't have any Square, no Beanix shit.
You didn't have Konami, so there was no there wasn't. I don't recall any strong Konami support. You had Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation. That wasn't a thing on N64.
Yeah. Like, I know we talked about this, or we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but like the third-party support for the 64 was pretty dire. Like, the biggest contributor to the 64's third-party library by far was Rare, and even Rare is owned by Nintendo.
That's more second. That's second. So
it's like
that's not even third party.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. So it's like, I don't know, it's like the best-selling 64 game that isn't published by Nintendo or Rare is Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer. And after that, I feel like it's Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
I feel like one of the best companies as far as third-party support on the N64, and it's because of the kinds of games that they would bring over. It was actually Midway, because they had a lot of their arcade stuff that they brought over, because it was a good console to bring arcade games over at the time. Like they had stuff like I'm pretty sure Cruisin' is a Midway title. They had but I know that they had like quite a few. What was it?
Hydro Thunder.
Hydro Thunder. That's the one I was trying to think of. But yeah, Midway actually had some good support on the N64, to be honest.
Cruisin' was actually published by Nintendo on the 64.
Okay, I might be
in arcades. It was published by Midway, but
I was thinking of the arcade version because that's the one I played the most of.
So,
yeah, I did play a little bit on the N64, but I definitely played most of Cruisin' on the arcades. So that's my bad. But yeah, like Midway was pretty friendly with Nintendo at this time. So like, there wasn't a whole lot of third-party support, but the couple companies that decided they wanted to help Nintendo, they did give them some great games for the console.
Oh man,
I definitely do agree though that like, if you're looking at like the best, like the lineup of like the best N64 games that you want to play, it's like, it's almost all Nintendo games. Especially if you count Rare being a second party developer for Nintendo, it is pretty much all Nintendo games. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just shows that Nintendo is very good at supporting a console, even if that console's not going to do well with anyone else. But it does mean that like the third party stuff this is probably where I think a lot of the modern reputation of like you play Nintendo for the exclusives might come from, at least over here in the States. Like a lot of people, they identify, at least until the Switch came out, like they identify Nintendo with exclusives, Nintendo exclusive games. So the N64 had an incredibly strong library of first party games, and a lot of people would play the Nintendo exclusives from that console and the console after and the console after and the console after. So it definitely has its reputation there. And that's kind of bad. It's kind of unfortunate in some regards, but I mean, it does speak to the strength of those games at least.
So as always, when we do our console specific podcasts, I have the Wikipedia page for the list of the best-selling games, which only includes all of the games that sold at least 1 million units. Out of the 53 titles on the 64, I want you guys to guess
more than I was expecting.
Yes, I want you to guess how many of them are published by either Nintendo or Rare.
I'm going to say
53.
I'm going to say 35 are Nintendo or Rare.
Landon?
I was going to go with something crazy. I'm going to go 45.
Cloud, you were very close. It was 36.
Damn, I didn't even count. Like I looked briefly at the list to make sure I had like I had an idea of like notable title inclusions, but I did not count. I didn't even know there was 53 whole games that got at least 1 million. Like that's good.
Yeah.
For a console, that
53 games on the 64.
Yeah. For one thing, there's only about like 400-ish games that got released like outside of Japan on the N64.
Yeah, it's like
there's not a lot.
380 something, I think, for the North America release.
So for a sixth of those or so, about an eighth of those, like 12% of getting at least 1 million on a console that only sold 20 million in North America.
It's like that's
not bad.
That's not terrible. It's like people that owned the 64 were buying games for it.
Oh yeah.
There are some weird ass titles that have sold at least 1 million though. You have Snowboard Kids, published by Atlas.
That's a popular one. Honestly.
Yeah. There is, and I'm gonna butcher this name because I think it's Hawaiian. It's Waiale Country Club True Golf Classics, which is published by Nintendo, actually.
Nintendo published some weird ass games, and it's because they wanted to be able to get some more games on the console that they didn't make.
Yeah,
they did that. They've done that a lot. They did it on the NES to get Mega Man 6 over. They did it on Final Fantasy 6 Advance to bring that over during the late GBA lifespan.
Yeah,
so it's a Nintendo thing.
It is.
Honestly, that's why I said 45 games, because there's a good chance some of those
some of those were just Nintendo brought them over, and they're technically not their games.
The full title of the game is Waialae Country Club True Golf Classics Championship Golf in Paradise.
Okay.
I think he's making
And that's
that
sold
up.
I put it in the spoilers. It's published by Nintendo. Also published by Nintendo, Kobe Bryant in NBA Courtside. Just random ass sports titles.
They needed games.
They really did.
I will say one thing that I feel was interesting to note is although a lot of wrestling games would go on to be like really successful on the PS2, I feel like the wrestling games on the N64 have a better reputation of being like good games or just like fun games that people fondly remember versus the stuff that was out on PlayStation at the time. And I do not understand exactly 100% why that might be, but like there was quite a lot of wrestling games on both systems, but I don't hear a lot of people talk about the ones on PS1, whereas I definitely hear about people having fond memories of the wrestling games like WCW on N64, which is interesting.
I wonder if that is because of the analog stick necessity.
You know what? Maybe
That could
because
be
I mean, a
Yeah.
wrestling game
games
is
are
it's good to
3D.
have.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they're like usually a 3D like space, and with the DualShock not being like the default controller, it's weird to develop. Like I wouldn't want to play like No Mercy with a D-pad.
Yeah.
I think that
So-
might also. I think that also contributes to how the 64 actually has a good chunk of first-person shooters on the system that the PS1 doesn't. Like you
yeah.
have shit like Turok and GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, and The World Is Not Enough, and fucking what else is there?
There's a Doom 64.
Yeah.
There's a
Doom
there's a
64.
there's a first-person South Park game.
I think there's a Wolfenstein game on N64 as well. But yeah, there's a lot of like first person shooters on the N64 because fun fact, those are typically really good with some sort of like I'm trying to think of the word, but like you need very acute control of your character's like facing. And you know, you don't have a mouse control by default, obviously, on these consoles. So the next best thing is a stick that offers full 360-degree movement.
Yeah.
And guess what? The N64 has a fucking stick that has that.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
true.
So I want to hear from you guys, though. What do you consider defining games for the system for you? What are N64 games that really stick out that like give you the like when you think of N64, like its identity, its legacy? Like what are the games you think of the most? And Landon, name a game that isn't Paper Mario. Go.
There isn't one.
All right. Great podcast, guys.
You know what? I'll give you 10, and I'm going to give you 5 single player and 5 multiplayer.
Whoa.
So, Ocarina of
generous.
Time and Majora's Mask, obviously. Banjo-Kazooie. You have Super Mario 64, and I'm going to say GoldenEye for single player, and then multiplayer.
But GoldenEye is also multiplayer.
For
Can't
for
count
multiplayer.
GoldenEye twice.
I was going to count GoldenEye twice.
Damn.
All right,
Can't
fine.
do that.
All right,
You said
fine. That's
10 individual games.
okay. Then I'll count. Then I'm not including GoldenEye in the multiplayer. Then, Pokemon Stadium, and I'm only gonna say one of them because I'm gonna say 2 of them would be cheating. Mario Kart 64, Super Smash Brothers, Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer, and Perfect Dark.
Does that one have
Perfect-
multiplayer? I've actually
Perfect
never
Dark-
played Perfect Dark.
More
Doesn't-
known for its single player or multiplayer.
I feel like it's more known for the
more
for the
known
single
for the
player.
single player,
like
but,
I
you
feel like
know.
he flipped those two around.
Yeah.
They're interchangeable. They're both.
Sure.
Listen. They're both rare published. Well, technically, Nintendo published GoldenEye, but they're both rare developed first-person shooters
Yeah.
for the 64.
I think for me, my biggest ones that would like stick out is definitely The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Pokemon Stadium because of course, Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, and I think I would probably say it's kind of hard because I wanted to dwindle it down to 5, but like it's really a toss-up for me for the last spot between Smash Brothers, Diddy Kong Racing, and GoldenEye 007. So you know what? All 3 of them get to be on there. I named 7 games. I mean, I've played more than that. I've played Pokemon Snap. I've played Pokemon Puzzle League. I played all 3 Mario Party games. I just played Mario Party 3 the most. I've played a few of the other, N64 games here and there. I played like other games like Glover. I've played Cruisin'. I played Kirby 64 and I fucking love that game. I played Sin and Punishment and I thought that game was fantastic. But like when I think of like the stuff that really sticks out to me is like what are the immediate games I think of? It's definitely the ones that I mentioned originally. I just gravitate towards those games. So Landon, are you sure you can only think of Paper Mario? Or is there anything else you could think of?
I mean, is there anything else to think about? I mean,
not even Majora's Mask?
You guys just mentioned several games that
you would have said.
That are video games that happen to be on the Nintendo 64. I do want to clarify something I said earlier in the podcast. When I said no Resident Evils, I meant like the entirety of the original trilogy. Because Resident Evil
ones.
2 is available on 64.
Yeah.
Just not Resident Evil. Like some not all of the Resident Evils are available on it. So yeah. Anyway, I mean, when I hear, it really comes down to 3 games because those are the 3 games I played on the 64, and it's Paper Mario, it's Pokemon Stadium for the United States one, and it is Pokemon Snap. Those are the games I played on the hardware a ton as a kid. I played a bit of like Mario Kart, and I've played a lot of other games through other services because Nintendo likes to keep their games available through like Virtual Console and NSO. So I've played like a good handful of stuff after the fact, but like when I think 64, those are really just the 3 games I think about because I spent a ton of years just playing them.
Yeah. No, Jack was mentioned a great point earlier about how like NSO has an expansive N64 catalog. So like if you're interested in the N64, it's not 1-to-1 with the controls. In some games it's a little bit weird because of that. But it's still a decent way to play N64 games, and there's a large collection of games on there to play. You don't get all of the connectivity features, unfortunately, with certain games because of that weird expansion port that the N64 controller had. So you don't always get to do everything that you could with actual original hardware. Like Pokemon Stadium, you can't connect your Pokemon Game Boy games, and that's mostly Nintendo and Pokemon Company's own fault. They could definitely have done that. They just didn't feel like it. There's, you can't, I don't think you can really save ghost data in Mario Kart 64 unless they programmed something around to do that. So you do lose some weird functionality, but you mostly, for the most part, you get the experience of being able to play a lot of the games. And I want to ask, with the availability of NSO, and also just if you happen to have the hardware available to you, are there any N64 games you have played that you'd like to play one day?
Iggy's Wrecking Balls.
You played that.
Yeah, it's true. I've played it and I don't want to play it anymore.
Famously,
boy.
I sold that video game. But not the physical cartridge. Check out our Patreon.
True.
Do you need a second, Jack?
I've already kind of played a lot of the big ones, honestly. I'll get back to you.
I will say there is one major game that I have not, two major games actually, that I've not played yet. One of them is I've played a remake of it, so I just want to play the original and see how I feel. And the other one, I have played another game in the series, but I have not played the original game and I would like to play. And that's the original Paper Mario and Star Fox 64. Like those are two standouts that I look at this list and I even just thinking about the games, like these are games that I've played almost, like I probably played like 90+% of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Never touched the first Paper Mario. I should probably rectify that at some point. And I played Star Fox on Switch 2, and I absolutely loved it. It would be cool to go back and play Star Fox 64 and see where that game came from, because I've heard good things as far as N64 games go.
All right, you know what?
But you know what? There is also one other mention that I want to say before I forget it, and that is Pilot Wings 64 as well. I've never played a Pilot Wings game, and I feel like if I wanted to play one, I'd probably want to play 64 because it seems like the kind of game where having the 3D would just be really cool. So, yeah.
Well, I opened the 64 NSO to kind of like jog my memory, and I haven't opened it since the most recent updated where they added Donkey Kong 64. So I'm going to say that because I actually have not played Donkey Kong 64. Not extensively anyway. I've touched it, but yeah.
You touched it.
I mean, if I were to equate it to a full meal, I've taken like maybe 2 bites out of it, but I've not like played it.
Probably played about the same amount. Like I played a little bit, and I could go on about that in like the wrap up catch up segment, but honestly, I haven't played enough of it to really say anything there. It's definitely not as fluid and frenetic as I expect a Donkey Kong game to feel. So it's like when you think about Donkey Kong games, you really think of like the movement and how the game flows. And Donkey Kong 64 is not that.
He's pretty heavy and slow.
Pretty heavy, slow, doesn't have like that momentum based kind of gameplay. I mean, even Donkey Kong Bonanza managed to do that. I mean, it did take, 20 plus years, but they did get to that movement in 3D. So I think I want to give it a shot, like a serious shot again one day, but today is not that day. I don't know. How about you, Landon? There's probably a lot of N64 games you have not played, but here's the question. Do you actually want to play any of them?
I was going to say, there's a handful of games that I probably should play. I've touched a little bit of like Kirby 64, but I never beat it, and that one I should go and like actually play through. Too bad we don't have a Kirby podcast episode for us for me to make me do it. So
Redux podcast.
Redux baby season 5 where we just
Redux the entire first season.
Just Redux. We all have to rewatch the Super Mario movie to give it a new review.
Oh goody.
No, that's the one episode where we don't have to redux it. We just have to watch the Super Mario Galaxy movie and do a review for that.
Honestly, I'll take that. So Kirby 64 is sort of top of mind. I guess the Banjo games. The issue I have, like, I watched Jack play the Banjo games, and that's enough for me. I have a really big hesitation about getting into most of the rare, like, 64 3D platformers, because I feel like there's a lot, especially Donkey Kong 64. It's probably like the most
like they're just like really big content packed games. So like it's a huge undertaking, right?
Yeah, like the Banjo game's probably not as much, but Donkey Kong 64
Conquer?
in particular has like a huge like the amount of shit you have to do in order to even like beat the game. Not even talking about 100%ing it is like a lot. And so like I always have a hesitation of like playing any of those, even though I like platformers and I like collectathons. it's always just like, I don't know. Also,
I would say like
they're early 3D platformers, and not all of those have like really Jack's famous line.
I feel like the 3D platformers of that generation, at least between N64 and PlayStation, I feel like with PlayStation, since it wasn't as powerful of a system, they specifically made the platformers to work within the confines of the PlayStation's limitations. Whereas with the 64, I think that they tried to be more ambitious because of the extra power, but that can also mean like some of the games are a little bloated. They're a little too large because they were like, oh, there's so much we can do with this console in a 3D platformer in a 3D space. So some of the games happen to do a lot and somewhat more than necessary. Yeah, no, I could see that. I definitely gravitate more towards the PlayStation 1 platformers because they just feel like a 3D version of like the 2D platformers from like the previous generation, where like the scale isn't super bloated, so like it's easier for me to chew on them and play them. Whereas like Landon said, like I look at a game like Donkey Kong 64 and I realize I'm like 1% of the way through a game despite playing like a couple hours of it. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, there's still that much more to go? Like, yeah.
Jack,
So,
I will now give you the floor to defend Banjo.
They're not that
Kazooie,
long. I
Sell me on Banjo, because I am Banjo Kazooie
Yeah. Banjo 2 is the
curious
sequel. But
Tui, I will say, is very bloated and big if that's what you're worried about. But, you know, so I would recommend not playing Tui unless you're really, really into Kazooie. But Banjo-Kazooie, I would say, like, it's not too big of a game. Like, I think it strikes a good balance between, like, having large areas to explore without feeling like too overwhelming with how much there is to look for and like how many secrets to find. Like there's still plenty to go after, and there's, you know, 100 notes like there is in every level, but like, and I will say the brutal thing about the 64 version is if you die, you have to start over on notes from that world. So but
I do have one question to like kind of get in a good idea. So like, I'm not saying Super Mario 64 is by means a small game, but as far as like comparing, like let's say Super Mario 64 is on one end of the scale, and then you got Donkey Kong 64 and Banjo-Tooie on the other sort of the scale. Is Banjo-Kazooie closer to like that end, or is it closer to Mario 64 in terms of like manageable level of content?
It's closer to Mario 64, but I would say like if we're talking like size of worlds with like Mario 64 being like a 0 and Donkey Kong 64 being like 100. I'm just assuming it's like the individual worlds are huge in Donkey Kong. I don't even necessarily know if the worlds in Donkey Kong 64 are like huge, but it's like
they're not
you have
huge,
to switch between characters a lot.
Yes, you have to switch between characters, so you have to factor in.
So there's so much to collect.
Is like 5 times. You have to play it 5 times.
I would say like Banjo-Kazooie is like a 35 or a 40. It's like bigger. Okay. It's like kind of in the middle, but like closer to Mario 64, I would say.
Okay. I might be down for that then.
And it's like, you also like 100% completion is not super necessary. And in a lot of like instances in that game, like not required at all. You do need like a minimum number of jiggies to keep going, but like it's not a ton. And honestly, like none of the secrets in the game are like super like hidden, so like if you explore enough, then you'll find them.
All right,
and so plus like the worlds are just like really fun to explore. They're really charming. They have fantastic music, and it's just a very like it's in terms of like 3D platformers of the era, the controls are very fluid.
So I want to go back. Did you manage to come up with, I forget if I asked you about games you would like to play for the N64 besides Donkey Kong 64? Is there anything else that like really you can think of?
Turok, I guess. I've never really like played Turok extensively. Okay. So that would be cool. honestly, there's not a ton that I haven't played that I'm like super interested in, so it's hard to say really. But yeah, I don't know. I would probably play YLA Country Club True Golf Classics.
All right,
Quest
so
64.
What's that? Oh,
I am
Quest 64 yet.
I am actually. I know that the game gets a bad reputation, but out of the curiosity of this is one of the few RPGs for the system, I do want to play Quest 64 one day. Please, Nintendo, dig that game up from whatever data desert you'd have to and put that game out there. Just do it.
Put it on 64 NSO. That's all I'm asking.
But yeah, no. So, final thoughts on the N64, just retrospectively. Like, how do you feel about it as a whole? What do you think of the system?
Did we want to... I mean, I know we kind of talked about it a lot in our controllers podcast, but that was literally the first podcast. But did we want to talk about the controller?
You know what? Let's just get that out of the way because it is a big part of the system. I think that it had some good ideas as far as having an analog stick, having ergonomic handles to hold the controller. Like, that is one of the systems that like pioneered having a comfortable ergonomic design. When you take out the fact that there's 3 fucking handles to hold on to.
Yeah.
It is a comfortable controller. Even though it didn't have a stick for it, it did standardize having some sort of input that would be very inducive to camera control. The C buttons would often be used for that. If the game needed camera control, you could use the C buttons for that. Sometimes they use all 4. They would use left and right if they didn't need them. Sometimes in Zelda, you would have the one button, the up button, to like have like a first-person camera view, so you could move things around for a little bit and get a good look. But either way, the N64 did allow for good 3D controls as far as like the controller was concerned for their time. They did not age well, and we have more standardized controls now, thank God. But the N64 was doing things that the PlayStation 1 was not quite able to pull off until the DualShock, and even then, a lot of games did not even support the DualShock, and only one game really required it, with that being Ape Escape. So if you play a 3D game, it'll feel better if you're playing it on an N64 with the N64 controller than if you try to play most PlayStation 1 games with a controller that is not the DualShock. Like, they did a decent enough job with that.
Yeah, it's not like... I mean, it's stupid looking at it, because it's like, what is this, made for spider people? For aliens? People with, like, a hand growing out of where their dick should be? I don't know. But it, like, when you use it with, like, left hand on the middle, I don't know what you would call them, leg? The middle leg?
Yeah. I don't know what they're called, but I do know that middle part is literally the same mold that they would go on to use for the nunchuck on the Wii.
For the nunchuck, it's true. But yeah,
the appendage.
Your left hand in the middle and your right hand on the right, because to be honest, there's so extremely few games that actually utilized the D-pad on the 64, just
and even
because
the ones
of
that
the way the controller was designed.
Even the ones that did, they didn't often need the control stick. So, like, you were either holding the left and the right or the middle and the right. Kirby
64 used the D-pad, but it's like you don't use the control stick for anything. So it's like, it's kind of whatever. It's like comfortable to hold, and it works pretty perfectly for all the games that are on the 64, because all of the games are designed around it, so it makes sense. It's not a terrible controller, just kind of a stupid one.
Yeah,
in retrospect.
I think honestly it's a little weirder going back because of the fact that it had that expansion port. Like, controllers they don't do that anymore. Like, they had the Dreamcast, the original Xbox, and like that was pretty much it as far as like expansion ports that did anything substantial that would affect your game. And like, then companies realized, oh, we don't need this. We could just make the game to work just however without that.
I guess technically, unless you include the Wii Motion Plus, which is kind of different, because it's
the
not
Wii
exactly
mode has like a spot to like add
stuff
to it. in a very somewhat similar fashion, but like I don't know,
it's different.
Yeah,
it's
it is different.
It's not the same as.
It's not like adding a rumble pack.
It's
It's
kind of like adding a rumble pack, but not quite. But
I guess if you compare that to Wii Motion Plus specifically, those are somewhat similar in the fact that they add some special thing that enhances the gameplay for games that support it, but it isn't required for most games. But it's one of those things where like I feel like honestly the N64 controller is fine outside of that expansion pack. Actually, I think that expansion port is a little weird, and if you try to go back and use those controllers, a lot of the time that port is not very well made. Like it is pretty hard to get shit to work properly with it today, unless you keep your controller in like pristine condition.
I think the Nintendo 64 controller is a perfect controller because it looks exactly like a bunch of bananas. And
it's true.
Ooh, banana.
There is a banana variant of the controller for Donkey Kong 64. I rest my case.
It's true. It has like little brown nips on the bottom.
Now, as far as the system itself, the N64, just final thoughts on it. I think that it's a fine system. It's kind of weird looking back that it has like some of my most like cherished childhood memory games, but it also does not have the most expansive library. So it's like one of those things where it's like, I definitely have formative years playing this console, but I don't go back and think about it too much because like it didn't reach the heights for me as the PlayStation or the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. So like I just think of it fondly in the time that I did spend with it. But like Jack was saying earlier in the podcast, I really did love getting friends together and playing the shit out of games that supported multiplayer. That was a fun time. And I did get a lot of experience with that through GoldenEye and Diddy Kong Racing and Mario Kart 64 and Mario Party.
Yeah. It's not like, I think it's not the best Nintendo system ever, obviously, but like it holds a special place in my and many people's hearts, and it is like it serves a good purpose being like a very strong console for multiplayer.
I'm not gonna lie, I think honestly, like if I look back and like I compare the two, I think that the highest highs for me on the N64 are better. This is my opinion. Don't skewer me. The highest highs for me on N64 are better than the GameCube, but it's not nearly as consistent. Like the GameCube has a lot more games and a lot more good games than the N64. But when I think about the games I had a fond time playing, like the highest highs on the N64 as of this moment, I am playing more GameCube games lately, so that may change in the future. I do like what I played on N64 at their peak more than some of the stuff on GameCube so far.
I feel like there is something inherently broken with my perception of both the GameCube and the 64. Because I know sales-wise, the 64 technically performed better than the GameCube, but I always view the GameCube as the superior console.
Well, I mean, sales figures and quality are two different things. You can think that.
Well, like it just like my. Like, if you asked me which one sold better, I would tell you the GameCube. Like,
oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah. That's where it's broken. Like, I don't know. It was like a couple of months ago. We had there was a discussion on our Discord about the systems, and I would have just told you, I don't know. Like the GameCube is the better selling console. It's the better console. Which I know some of that is, like you said, quality and sales figures are not 1-to-1 in all cases, but that's I feel like the GameCube was just such a stronger console than the 64 in a lot of ways. That's why. I agree that there was a lot of, and Nintendo on the GameCube did something they had a lot more unique titles I feel like
Yeah.
they started a more unique series. They brought back some series like Metroid and Fire Emblem, and they started like Pikmin,
Animal Crossing, Pikmin.
I mean, Animal Crossing
Animal Crossing was originally
from the Western perspective. Animal Crossing started on the Cube, so like, and you don't have as much of that. Like you have Pilot Wings.
Yeah, you don't have a lot in the way of like new crazy ideas coming on a Nintendo for like the N64. It was more like they wanted to take the property that they had established already and just try to make good games in this new scope that they had access to on the N64, which was probably a lot of work already. Like you can't really be thinking, oh, also let's make new games in brand new IP. Like that's kind of hard to do that when the N64 is such a huge step above. But with the GameCube, it's not as much of a leap from the N64 in terms of like what kind of games are you making. So like you could go and do crazy shit, and you had a bunch of creative stuff out of that. So yeah.
Yeah, they hit the baseline for 3D gaming. But yeah, that's just sort of like I think the last podcast I said the Super Nintendo is a system I have a lot of respect for, not a whole lot of nostalgia for, but do not care to collect for. And I feel like the 64...
The N64 is the opposite?
I don't collect for it either. Is like, I think the only other game I bought besides the 4 I mentioned at the start of this was I own a copy of physical... I own both Zeldas, because I own every Zelda. But the only other game on top of that I own is Banjo-Kazooie.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of like outside of the collecting aspect, it's more like I have some nostalgia for the N64, but I don't respect it that much. And that's fair too. That's fair too.
I think that's where I'm getting at with I feel like the GameCube, like there's like a part of my mind where it's just like the GameCube's just like this like better selling, far more superior console, and like the same with like the Super Nintendo. Like both of these consoles were just like so much better around the 64, but you know, I don't know. I know that's incorrect, like when I start to think about it, but like my passive thoughts are like the 64 kind of sucked.
I think if you want to look at the overall library,
grew up with it, and like
really I think if you look at the overall library, thanks to the third-party support, like the GameCube does have a better library than the N64.
Yeah.
Like there are more good games to play on the GameCube than there are in 64. So like if that's like what you're looking at, like there's no reason not to be able to believe that. So
but all that set aside, the 64 has Paper Mario. Console the Millennium.
Yeah.
There you go.
Best console ever.
So that is everything we've got to say about the N64. Let us know your thoughts, but we've got our usual housekeeping that Jack's going to do, and then we're going to catch up and talk about what we've been up to the past couple of weeks.
Who are the gold tier Stooges?
Good question. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, look that up, and tell me when I get to the point in the script where I say that.
Yes.
Script.
Hey everybody, this is Jack from the GamingStooges here to tell you about the GamingStooges Patreon. You can subscribe. Let me start over. You can subscribe to us at patreon.com/GamingStooges for either $3 or $5 a month, the Silver and Gold Stooge tiers respectively. At the Silver Stooges tier, you get access to exclusive videos that we post on a monthly basis, including fun one-off videos like tier lists, alignment charts. We do tabletop games like Delta Green. In addition to that, you also have access to voting rights on future content, including future stream titles and podcast topics. At the Gold Stooge tier, you get everything in the Silver Stooge tier, plus a personal shout-out from us. Shout-out to...
It is Al and Buggy Brian. Who we got?
Woo! Shout-out to Al and Brian.
Yay.
Let's go. As for streams we've been doing lately, Cloud just finished up Ape Escape Pumped and Primed.
That does
hilarious
sound like,
title.
That does sound like a Ratchet and Clank spinoff if you take out the Ape Escape part.
But
it is not. It is an Ape Escape spinoff.
Such a great title. It sounds
was
a gay porn.
It's really weird, the kind of game that it is. Like, it's supposed to, it starts off, it's structured like an athletic mini game style, like multiplayer game, but then halfway in, it's like hard pivots to a single player arcadey platformer slash kind of it still tries to keep the same gameplay, so you still have the same kind of structure as far as the levels that you play through, but you stop playing against other characters and you start playing exclusively against these NPC enemies as you go towards a final boss, and the final boss is they look like Andross from Star Fox. I don't know, it's really weird, and I honestly remember liking that part of the game more because I totally forgot there's one little part of the game in the early half where the threshold for what you have to do to be able to succeed and move on is so stupidly over the top. You have to do 3 mini games or 4 mini games per segment, and the last one you have to win all of them first place. You can't lose any of them, and the AI is bullshit sometimes, so having to win all 3 of those in order to move on was pretty annoying. Al watched me. I did eventually get that done, was able to play through the whole thing. But yeah, it was a fun game. We're going to be going to Final Fantasy VIII soon. Oh boy.
Rough. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Are you ready to draw?
I've played a significant part of Final Fantasy VIII already. I just never finished it. And I will say, there are things I like about it, and there are things I absolutely do not like about it. And I will elaborate on that when I start streaming it.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
As for Landon,
yeah,
Landon is still streaming Dragon Quest VI.
Yes.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Well, we took a week off because I decided so.
You had stuff to do.
Yeah.
And then we
Real
came
life
back,
came up.
and I did a buttload of side stuff and did not move the main story along at all for that last.
Oh, that's what I did in Xenoblade the other day.
Yeah. It was almost 2.5 hours of just nonsense. But we got to the point where you can make one of your optional optional monster party members fight in 1v3 fights, and because there's not really monster recruiting in this game, but there's a couple optional monsters you can recruit that are mostly slimes. Okay. And there's a slime arena to prove the slimes are the best monsters. So it still has the arena fighting aspect for monsters, but it's not a full party of monsters. It's just one of your monsters, and then it's fighting usually 3 other monsters. So it has to you have to be set up to sweep shit. And so we got through I think the first 4 of the ranks, and then we got our asses destroyed in the last rank, and I was cool.
Nice.
Don't care. The biggest reward you get for it is another optional party member that's a slime, and I'm I don't need it. Thanks.
You're like, none of these are Chromio. Bring back Chromio.
Exactly. There's no metal slime party member in this game, so what's the fucking point?
That sucks.
So yeah, apparently, according to Al, we will make actual story progress in the next stream. So tune in.
Jack, did you already talk about Xenoblade? I forget.
Not exactly. I mentioned it, but yeah, I'm still playing Xenoblade. It's going well. I am doing far more side stuff than I originally anticipated, just because it's usually very easy and also gets you a lot of experience and money.
It's
just
worth doing.
It honestly is. It's most of the time, the experience and money that you get just from completing these, it's they're just, fetch quests a lot of the time, but it's they get you good money and experience, and to the point where I am far higher level than I need to be in the story right now. We just got to Alchemoth the other day, and we've been doing some side questing there. The city with the high Entia, the birdwing heads.
He got to the top of the Bionis.
Not quite the very top, but we're getting there. We haven't gotten to prison. We're on the Bionis' head.
Yeah, you're like
we haven't quite gotten to Prison Island yet, but we're making our way. So and it's been fun. It has been a blast. Yeah, that's it for catch up. Discord. We have Discord. We have Discord that's in the description. We have a YouTube channel where we export all of our VODs to. Join our Discord. Talk to us about video games.
On our exclusive Patreon, we do still have a monthly exclusive video that is going to be coming out before the end of the month. We haven't put it out yet, but it will be out by the end of the month. So if you are subscribed at all in any tier, just look forward to that. It's gonna be a pretty fun episode, I think. And
I can't wait to see it.
We've probably been up to some interesting stuff the past couple of weeks. So Jack, want to start? What have you been up to? Just moving your hands around like you're like
I'm gonna start
playing with like the fushigi.
Yeah. Balls fushigi'd. I will talk about the smaller stuff first. I've been taking my 3DS to work a lot lately, and I've been just kind of like slowly cracking away at Pokemon Ultramoon. I just beat Lusamine.
You're far.
Yeah, right. I'm getting pretty close. I just got to Pony Island. So we're making our way towards the end of the game for sure.
You gonna do the Team Rainbow Rocket post game?
That was gonna be my question. Are you gonna do?
I probably will.
Rocket?
Yeah.
It's only like a couple hours into the post game. Like that's it. And you get access to it like right away.
Most likely, yeah.
Nice.
I will say my team composition. I went out of my way to choose Pokemon that I hadn't used before, and some of them I'm like, I'm not surprised that I haven't used you before. Currently I'm running Whimsicott, who is perfect, and I love them and has done nothing wrong. They're my best party member.
Whimsicott's awesome.
Whimsicott rules. It doesn't even have Prankster. I realized that like halfway through the game, and I'm just like, it doesn't matter. It's still so good.
It's so fast. It gets all the good moves that you need it to have. Like
I got Moonblast, I got Energy Ball, I got Leech Seed. That's all I need.
I think it gets Sleep Powder too, right? Like
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have Whimsicott. I have Palossand, who has actually been really good since it learned Earth Power. Once it evolved, like it's been solid. Hariyama, who has been pretty solid, but is also really fragile despite its high HP.
Hariyama aged pretty bad. He used to be like really fucking good, and then like the Gen 5 fighting types came in, and now he's just like not that good anymore.
I will say though, having a fake out user is really fun just because it's free damage to start the fight. It's just like fake out.
Plus you have to imagine him using his big hands.
Yeah, no, it's like he's the ultimate fake out Pokemon because it's literally a move where they go and he has the gigantic hands for it. Exactly. It's perfect. Let's see. Hariyama
you got Whimsicott, Palossand, so that's 3.
Whimsicott, Palossand, Hariyama, Kabutops, who has been pretty good.
Ooh.
Let's see.
I want to remember.
Some of these. Alolan Muck, which has solid, just not as much of a damage dealer as I would like. Pretty bulky though, and like usually survives a few hits and does what I need it to. And honestly, the biggest disappointment in my entire party is Oranguru, who is sadly just is not bulky enough to tank. It's like it's not very strong. Its special attack is only like 90, or its base special attack I should say is only like 90. So like I have to use Calm Mind to set up, but like it usually doesn't live long enough to be worthwhile.
Which was the one that I suggested? I know I suggested one of the Pokemon. I know it wasn't Oranguru, but I don't remember.
I think it was Alolan Muck, if I remember correctly.
Hell yeah.
And Alolan Muck has been good. I mean, it's like overall the team isn't bad. It's just like sometimes I do run into some like tough boss fights just because my Pokemon don't do a ton of damage.
I was gonna say
I don't have a good sweeper.
You don't have a good sweeper. Your best Pokemon offensively on paper is Kabutops, but he doesn't get the move pool to do that.
Yeah, it's like Kabutops, I have Rock Slide on him, and he does, like, decent work on the Pokemon that he's super effective against, but it's not, like, amazing.
Yeah.
The nice thing, though, is that despite Kabutops not having a crazy high speed, it outspeeds almost every Alolan Pokemon because they're all so
Alolan Pokemon
slow.
are all slow as shit.
Yeah.
That's where Waterfall and Rock Slide come in handy. You just spam the flinch chance.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I still have not had access to Waterfall yet, so
Damn.
I'm still waiting on that. I'm still running Aqua Jet.
So, anything besides Ultra Moon?
I'm playing Astrobot still. I'm getting very, very close to the end. I'm at like 279 bots out of 301. So I'm like, I think I have like 3 or 4 levels left. I had just completed the secret world. And got all the bots from that. So I think I only have like 3 or 4 levels left in the final like galaxy.
It doesn't have any more levels than the other ones do. So like if you know how many levels you've done so far, you'll have an idea of how much you have left.
Yeah, I mean like if I have like 22 bots left, it's probably like 3 or 4 levels, probably 4 if I had to guess, including what I assume will be a final boss. But I've been enjoying the fuck out of that. Loving every minute of Astrobot. Review coming soon for me and Cloud. It will be up
before the end of the month.
Before the end of the month.
That's our Patreon exclusive. Look forward to it.
For the month. As far as other things I've been up to, I went to Chicago this past weekend. I took a weekend trip with Bethany. We stayed a few days on the north side. We got a B&B, and like got a surprisingly easy parking spot that we got for free. And we just did not use the car at all for the entire weekend. Like we just walked everywhere, and it was honestly pretty great. Like to be able to do that.
Walking around Chicago is actually pretty fun.
It is.
It really is actually. It's like
not a bad city.
There's a reason so many people in Chicago do not own cars. It's because it is a very walkable city, and like the train, which we didn't even use, like hits pretty much like every major spot like in the city. But we went specifically we went for 3 things, but the reason that spawned the trip was because I went to go see Jeff Rosenstock again. I saw him.
Did she go with you?
Yes, she did.
Was she into Jeff Rosenstock already, or did she like go with you to
Yeah, no, she's into him already. She and I have seen him a couple of times together already, actually. We saw him down in Indy a couple years ago, and then in Detroit last year when he toured with Pup.
Nice.
But he's doing currently still is actually. He's playing in Chicago quite literally right now. He's doing a residency of 9+ shows. It basically started as I'm doing one show, and when that show sells out, we're adding another one, and we're doing that literally forever until we get to a point where we don't play a sold out show. And they're at 9 right now.
Oh wow!
This is like his
so
second
we went
time
to see
doing something like this, but it's badass.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did it in I think Brooklyn last year, and he played like 8 or 9 shows there too. But no, it was great. It was at the it's at the Metro, which is on the north side, and we were able to walk to it. It was like 15-minute walk away. We saw him nights 3 and 4. I was originally only going to go one night because I'm like, I've seen him like a million times. I don't need to see him more than once necessarily. But I'm
then
glad
you were like, you know what? I'm here and he's here. Let's go see him again.
Oh,
well, no,
it's
that's
not
the
because of
thing.
him.
It's not because of him. It's because
playing with.
Yeah, so he has a different opener each night, and I bought tickets for night 3, which was this past Saturday night that we were going to go to. And then once that sold out, the very next show that got announced for night 4, Mustard Plug was announced as the opener. And I'm just like, fuck, I'm going to go to it. And then we did, and it was worth it because Mustard Plug, who I saw for the first time the other day, surprisingly, was fantastic. I loved them. And Jeff was great, obviously. He did like probably 30 songs each night. He did a few Bomb the Music Industry songs. He played the first time I met Sanawan literally for the first time ever with a full band, which is kind of crazy, and I got to see that, so I'm happy. And both of the shows were fantastic. It's just
anything else cool that you did in Chicago?
Aside from that, though, we also went to a Cubs game on Sunday because Wrigley Field is literally across the street from where the venue is. So we decided to just do that as well because Bethany has been like, I want to go to a Cubs game or like a professional baseball game at some point. And I'm like, all right, let's go to Wrigley. Fuck yeah. And the vibes were immaculate. It was probably 75 degrees outside, like beautiful day. They won 10-1, I think. So it was like very relaxing game. We each had like a few beers and a few hot dogs. And
I remember the one time that I went to Fenway Park to watch a Red Sox game. They slaughtered the other team. That's the only thing I remember.
Hell yeah.
I was like, hell yeah. All right, cool. That was good. I don't even remember who they were up against.
But those were the two main things that we were going for. But this third thing was Bethany's idea, actually. We went to the Field Museum in Chicago on our third day there, and we went to, both of us had been to the Field Museum before. It's a really cool place, but we went specifically to the Pokemon exhibit that they had there.
Oh yeah, I'm posting about this on Discord.
And I posted pictures of it in the Discord. Go join our Discord. And it was really cool. It wasn't like super huge, I will say. It's a pretty like not a humongous like display, but it was really cool. They had like various like fossil Pokemon like statues and like both like in their original forms and like skeleton versions of them. Like they had a fucking like big like Tyrantrum skeleton on display there.
I miss when Pokemon did that like in the games, because like they did that back in like Red and Blue where you got to see like the skeleton Kabutops, the skeleton Aerodactyl. I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. Why aren't they doing this more often?
I got to see the Holy Text. It's hard to see, but it's the Helix fossil.
Especially in the 3D games where you have like so much more to explore and like why not have more of that, you cowards, Game Freak?
Yeah. But it was also cool because they, like, in addition to that, they also had some, like, skeletons of the, like, actual, like, dinosaurs and creatures that the Pokemon were based on. Like, they had a Relicanth display, and, like, directly facing Relicanth, they had, like, a real Coelacanth.
That's awesome.
Which was, like, extremely cool, and they all had, like, little descriptions and shit about, like, the origins of the Pokemon and, like, the real dinosaur that the Pokemon is based on. And it was sick. I enjoyed it. My only issue is that it was very crowded and there was a lot of children, which I wasn't surprised by, but like the Pokemon exhibit specifically is a separate ticket from the museum ticket, and I know exactly why they do this, because they have a merch store there as well. And the Pokemon merch store at the Field Museum, you could only get into if you got a voucher from going into the Pokemon exhibit. And the Pokemon exhibit, you could only get a ticket for if you bought it ahead of time, because it was literally sold out for the day.
Jeez.
Like, you could not buy a ticket day of.
All right.
And they're like
fucking scalpers, like just
exactly.
Merch.
So you went to the Pokemon exhibit, you went to Chicago Cubs game, you went to see Jeff Rosenstock.
That was pretty much it. I mean, like we ate some
Chicago.
We ate some good food. We saw some cool sights, and it was a fun time. I had a great weekend. That was pretty much the main thing I had done in the last couple weeks. So,
I have not done nearly as exciting of stuff as Jack.
Yeah, it's all downhill.
You played some games. You played some games.
I've been playing a lot of video games, which is the thing that I do. So I mean, same old. But what have I been playing? I finished up Xenosaga Episode 3. I'm pretty sure I did not finish that until when I was talking about it on the previous podcast. I did finish it. It is fantastic. I'm so sad that I waited all this time in order to finally play it, but I'm really happy I finally did. I did like a bunch of the side stuff. Like I didn't leave a whole lot of the game left to play. Like I did a lot of the optional stuff. So I was really happy to play Xenosaga Episode 3 finally. I also finished up playing Hatsune Miku Project Diva X on the Vita, and I will say the like final stretch of the game did not need to do what they did. You have to replay the same songs over and over to get points to unlock the final song, and I thought that was kind of dumb. I think that they should have just did like something much more streamlined, but whatever. Overall the game was fun though. It's a shame that a lot of the songs on there just never came back. Like there's a couple songs in there that are like really good and they just never returned in any other game. So, oh well. I also have been playing more Golden Sun: The Lost Age. I'm getting pretty far in. Like the guide I'm following is like broken into like 54 parts and I'm on like part 34-ish. So like I'm getting well past the halfway point. I'm getting into like the last like third of the game soon. So I'm having fun with that though. I'm not sure where the game's going to take me next, but I know that there's like these like big elemental rock themed dungeons. I already did one earlier in the game. Well, now I'm doing a second one, and considering the last one was huge, I know that this one is also going to be huge. So that's gonna be interesting. I finished up what I wanted to do with Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. I didn't finish playing the game, but I did what I wanted to do, which was get a feel for the stuff I didn't get to experience with the when I first played Let's Go Pikachu, so that I can talk about all of the stuff that the game has when we do our podcast on Gen 7 coming up later this year. Actually, it's going to be next month, so we're actually pretty close to it. And I also wanted to finish my Let's Go Kanto Pokedex for Pokemon Home, which I did. So I got that, redeemed the prize shiny Meltan, which is pretty cool. First time I've been able to get a shiny Meltan. I think that's one of the only legitimate ways to get one. So that's pretty cool. I also have been playing Metroid Prime is my big new game that I've been playing since the last episode. And
hell yeah.
I have one tiny complaint with this game. There's not nearly enough save points, and the checkpoint system is very old school. Like, you go back to the last place you saved. That's my only complaint. It is fantastic otherwise. It controls really well, considering the first-person gameplay. It adapts the 2D Metroid formula in a really satisfying way. Like, I'm enjoying it a lot. Like, even when I have to go backtracking between different areas, getting new power-ups and being able to, like, do new things in those areas. Like, I just got the boost ball and I got the space jump boots, so now I can, like, do a bunch of crazy shit I couldn't do before. It's a
ball.
It's a very satisfying game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm going to play more tomorrow morning after I get up. Because I'm gonna have some time to kill, and I'm gonna want to probably play some more Metroid Prime. I'm so happy that I'm playing this and not Other M, because Other M I would be suffering more. Prime, I'm having a good time as long as I'm making progress and not dying to a really hard boss or anything. Like, I'm having a great time. It's great.
Yeah.
I
will say the checkpoints are not super generous, especially compared to some games that have come since. But,
yeah, it holds up really well, even as the GameCube controls. Like, I'm playing the GameCube version on my Wii, so like I'm not playing with like the extra like Wii controls that they added for Prime Trilogy. I'm not playing remastered, so like I don't get like the extra quality of life improvements that they made with the remaster. I'm playing just straight GameCube Metroid Prime, and it holds up really well outside of that one small complaint I have.
That's not even something that got fixed in later versions, I think.
Yeah.
They didn't add like an autosave, did they, Jack?
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still good. Like I said earlier in the podcast, I tried to play Donkey Kong 64. It also did not go like super well. So like I've been kind of slogging through it. So I put that on hold. I've picked up Donkey Kong Country, and that's cool because one, revisiting Donkey Kong Country has been fun. I am glad that I'm playing it on NSO so I can rewind because the game is hard at points. But it's a great time. I'm glad I got to play it after like they added like the CRT filters, because the CRT filters on the NSO services are actually pretty damn nice. Like they make them look like I remember them being on like an old school TV. And Donkey Kong Country looks so good with that filter on. I love it. I also am kind of like in the middle of collecting a bunch of old games. I've posted on Discord a bunch of the cool shit I got recently. So if you want to see a bunch of the cool shit I got recently, you can check out the Discord. It's in Share Cool Stuff. We have a channel where you can just post cool stuff that you got and or did, and just like, yeah, just share it. And it's cool. I have a bunch of stuff posted there. I don't think anything else really of note is I have to really talk about. Oh, you know what? We got a new air conditioner, and that did the trick with helping our cat that was having some respiratory issues. It turns out the last AC that we had was like really dirty and really like contaminated and stuff. And we had picked it up off the side of the road. We didn't know that there was anything that wrong with it, but it was. So we tossed it out. We got a new one, and he's been totally fine. Like he's doing great now. So.
It's good.
Thankfully, there was nothing else. I did want to follow up on that before I forgot. So it's yeah, we got a new air conditioner, and it feels really good. Like I can feel it, and I'm on the opposite side of the bed, further away from it. So that's always a good sign.
Hell yeah.
You know the AC works when you have to pull it out at any point, and you can there's water, because like the last AC that I pulled out. It wasn't really wet. There wasn't really any water. So that shit was not giving us cool air. But this one, it's like, it blows really cool air when we have it on cool. So that's great. But yeah, no, pretty much the same old stuff with me besides the games I've been up to. Landon, how about you? What you been up to the past couple of weeks? You've been pretty busy.
I have done two things. I stayed up really
Digimon
late.
Story, Time Stranger.
That's the second thing. I stayed up really, really late one Tuesday night. And all I have for that night is this. I should show the side that has something on it. This t-shirt.
Streetlight Manifesto.
There you go. So,
are there shirts on Comfort Colors now? Fuck yeah.
Comfort Colors, baby.
Comfort fucking Colors. It's the best t-shirt brand.
So, yeah. I thought this design was really cool. It's like a mariachi band on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And it looks sick. So I did that. This is for their tour for their new half album that they just released.
Yeah. Tour for their new half album, yes.
Kari got tickets for my birthday 1,000 years ago because I was like, this is what I want. She's like, okay. So yeah. So they were in Portland, so we went, and that was like the first time we've been out, both of us, since the girls were born, and we were like out till 11 p.m.
Nice.
Hell yeah!
So yeah, that was a lot of
Had
fun.
a nice night out for once.
Yes. And then the only other thing I've done for approximately 33 hours since the last podcast is play Digimon Story Time Stranger.
You're already 33 hours into the game?
Yeah.
I finished the game at like 55 hours, so you're blazing through that
I'm
shit.
not really blazing. I am grinding the fuck out of. I stalled forever to get all of the, like, as many of the Digi eggs as I could. And spirits.
It's such a fun game to just grind out, though, sometimes, right?
I don't care. Like, I'll run through the same hallway, like, section of the game and just, like, beat up the same enemies, and I don't give a shit. Auto battle.
It's
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 trying
fun
to get the next, like, wave. I have, like, I think just about all of everything from in training up to, I think I have most of the champions, like,
Damn.
in my field guide unlocked at this point.
That's crazy. Digimon Story Time Stranger, by the way, without DLC, already has 450 Digimon or so.
Yeah.
And Now, for Pokemon, if like you add the DLC back in, you usually have like 700 or so. But like even base Pokemon games only start with like 400 nowadays. So like Digimon Story Time Stranger gives you a lot of shit to work with.
Yeah. And like I've been mostly focusing on the anime classics as like my main. So anything from like the first 3 like anime series and the movie has been like my like go-to for my team. So like all of the armored evolutions, like that's why I was like, I'm gonna stall and get every single one. I gotta get Submarine Mon.
I mentioned on Discord, but like my plan was to try to go with as often as possible Digimon that maybe you didn't get to play as them, but they appeared in Digimon World 3. Like that's like my nostalgia for Digimon. So I was like, I'm going to try and get stuff that was in Digimon World 3. So like, I feel like it's really easy in Time Stranger to just like theme your entire team around something. It's pretty cool.
RIP Frontier and onwards. That's the thing is like, I didn't like even see a lick of pretty much anything post the third. And I didn't even really watch a whole lot of the third stuff, but Gilmon is fucking badass, and Terriermon was one of the like the main 3 from that, so they get a pass.
Nice.
So yeah, that's like, yeah, even though like I put an hour into the demo, like most of my playtime has been since post launch on the Switch. Yeah, so.
Nice. How's it playing on the Switch 2? Since I assume you got the free upgrade, so it's actually like running on the Switch 2 specs and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah. I
haven't actually been able to play it since they updated it, because when I played it back on PS5, they had not optimized the game yet. So the game on PS5 when I played it is not even as good as the performance that they now have on Switch 2. That's fun.
Yeah, the Switch version, like I have, like, there's the very rare occasional hiccup, but honestly, like, it plays really well. It looks good, and this is like, I'm just in handheld mode, so I don't know if like handheld boost is also like in effect on top of.
Oh, you know what? That's right, because if you upgraded it though to the Switch 2 like specs, then it should just do that, because that's what they do with like any of the other games like Pokemon Scarlet Violet. They're not Switch 2 games, but they cancel out the handheld boost because I have that Switch 2 patch. So like anything like that, they should cancel out the handheld boost being turned on in favor of that patch.
But it like,
so, I mean, if it plays good, it plays good.
It plays good, and it looks like a like aesthetically, it looks like a current gen game.
Cool.
Like it doesn't feel like they're like substituting a bunch out. Maybe because Frontier and Onwards were on some Disney Channel. That's probably it.
Oh yeah, I forgot they did change channels.
When I feel like when Frontier happened, that was at the point when like I was falling out of like watching Digimon. I feel like that was like or like a lot of like the cartoon stuff. Like honestly, like because I like dropped. Like
that was around the time of like Yu-Gi-Oh coming in, and Pokemon Gen 3 was coming around the corner, sort of thing.
Like,
so like,
and I didn't watch a ton of Pokemon Gen 3, and
that's when Sonic was going on Nintendo a lot. So like,
yeah,
there's probably a lot of stuff for you to pay attention to elsewhere.
Yeah, there's unfortunately. So I'm sure there's some cool Digimon from the later generations that I see that I'm like, oh, neat. I have no. It's not Garurumon. It's not Rapidmon. Get the fuck out of my eyeballs. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. Yeah, I put the girls to sleep and I immediately grab my Switch and I play it. And there's been times where I just like sit in my car after work and I just like, all right, I need to go home. All right, I need to go home. And it's like right now we've got like a tropical storm that like went through California, and so we're getting like a lot of the humidity off of that, and so it's like 90 something degrees plus 90% humidity, and I'm just sitting in my car for like an hour. like definitely like
Hey,
destroying a lot of my internal organs. But
Yeah.
Digimon's been a lot of fun.
Well, at least there's that. That's been this podcast. We ended up having a lot of extra time to talk about what we've been up to, thanks to our briefer discussion on the N64. But that's all the time we have. That's all the stuff that we really had to talk about. Thank you all for tuning in. We will catch you next episode with some more Gaming Stooges Talks podcast topics. Sega Genesis next time. We'll talk about the Sega Genesis and its legacy and all the stuff we liked about that shit. Until then, have yourselves a good one. Take care and roll the outro. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Gaming Stooges Talks podcast. If you enjoyed us, consider subscribing to our podcast RSS feed or follow us on youtube.com/GamingStooges and twitch.tv/GamingStooges for more gaming content. If you'd like to chat with us, join our Discord. The link can be found in the episode description. We also want to thank all of our Patreon supporters. Your continued support means a lot to us. Not already one? Please take a look at what we have to offer anyone who becomes a patron at patreon.com/GamingStooges. See you next time!